Every animal kingdom has a hierarchy, and hierarchies, as we know, establishes order. And within order is typically where society runs best because people naturally fall into their places and understand their roles within those places, right? Men understand their roles, women understand theirs. Now, within hierarchies, as we know, there's a natural forming pyramid. We see this in every other animal kingdom, where through competition, and this is why competition is so important, through competition is typically where people find their places, right, through merit, or even sometimes through bloodline, but most of the time it is based on merit, that will find themselves up at the top for some of them. And typically the guys at the top are the ones that are rewarded the most, whether it's obtaining resources, maintaining resources, managing resources, or when it comes to women. Now, there are also certain points in time where the competition is a little skewed. And I'm going to bring up a couple of points today and kind of hit on that. But what I want to do is I want to go back into a little bit of our history. Now, our specific family, right, the Homo sapiens, have been around for over 300,000 years. And so the reason why we've survived for so long is because we were able to compete in that hierarchy. Look around when we see tall people, when we see short people, when we see, long hair, short hair, when we see lighter skin tone, darker skin tone, ask yourself, why is that? But when you start doing your research and you start learning about the Homo denis, I believe there's the Homo deniscens, right? The Homo erectus, and then quite a few others. You begin to realize that we have all of this genetic code within our own family, specifically because we either fucked them out of existence or we've killed them out of existence, right? There have been a lot of sites that were dug up, and violence was very prevalent in the past. Obviously, as tribes or families, species compete with each other for prey, for food, resources, all kinds of stuff. There's going to be there's going to be an elimination somewhere, right? And we came out on top, and we were rewarded by the long lifespan that we've had through our species, through our family. And so these are the rewards. We've made it this long because we've been able to survive through the competition. And more specifically, the reason why competition is so important is because the men that come out on top are the ones that get it all. And so you look around today, right? You see the reason why a lot of women specifically go after, the ripped jack dudes who've got the money and, they've got a good head on their shoulders and they're good men, they're well-rounded, are typically the ones that, have to beat the women off with a fucking spatula. They've survived through the competition, right? Now, there aren't going to be a lot of us that, really care too much for that. But I think it's something to be said because the end goal is to be a husband and a father one day as a man, right? That is the last chapter of being a man, right? Is finding a woman, having a beautiful family. And then when it comes to the end of your life, you're surrounded by a big beautiful family who is really sad to see you go, right? That is the last chapter of being a man. And, it all comes through competition. The reason why competition is healthy is so important is because it teaches you so much about yourself. It teaches you your limitations, but it also gives you an idea of your potential. Now, and it's not just that you're competing with other people, you're also competing with yourself too, right? Because a lot of times we place limiters within ourselves in our mind, and we stop ourselves from, well, taking on the world. And I think about Arm Day a couple days ago, and I usually as I'm doing bicep curls, on the cables, I remember I got up to my usual set, or my usual workout for bicep curls is going to be 100 pounds to 120 pounds, 3 sets for 12 reps. Well, after that, I was still feeling all right, so I wanted to see how far I could go. And I got all the way up to 160. And then I was able to push out a whole 12. Now, given some rest time, I was able to push out those 12. And was it a little bit challenging? It was kind of challenging, but it wasn't as challenging as I thought it was going to be. So I might decide to go a little bit higher, see how far I can go. And so when you begin to compete with yourself, right, is when you begin to see a lot of improvement you never thought you could do. But it's also super healthy for you to compete with other men as well. Because the more you compete, right, is the more respect that you earn, or the more respect that you give. Men often make the most strong bond. Men typically make the strongest bonds through competitiveness, right? Where we're like, hey man, look, I hit 225, man, a couple days ago. Dude, fuck yeah, man, right on, man. Gives you a fist bump. Someone gives you respect, man. And then they tell you that, they hit 405 on deadlift, and you're like, bro, fuck yeah, man, that's awesome. And then you give them a fist bump, and then guess what? You guys are now bonding, right? And it's through the hard work, it's through that competition that you've had with yourself, but also you're sparking competition subconsciously already, because you're like, man, I want to get to that level. I'm going to get past that level, It's just this innate desire to outdo another man. And that's what really drives men to take on the world. And that's where you're going to find the most reward. And it's not even about the resources, not even about the women. It's the fact that you are pushing yourself beyond your limitations, and you're growing, you're progressing, and you're coming out on top just because you're coming out on top. And because of the things that you learn, the things that you gain from coming out on top, right? It's all about yourself at the end of the day. The respect that you gain too is also another thing. But ultimately, the competition, I enjoy the process, right? And I enjoy conversations with others. And I also enjoy that competitiveness as well. I can think of quite a few times in the gym when, a couple of my buddies are either doing lunges. There was one specific day actually where I don't even think it was leg day, but one of my buddies, he has this 50-pound sack, right? There's this 50-pound sack at the gym, and what he does is there's a whole lap around the gym, right? And he now does a whole lap, but as of right now for leg days, what I do is I'll take that 50-pound sack, right? I'll throw it over myself. I'll throw it over my shoulders, and I'll begin to do a half lap lunges. And I'm telling you, that humbles you. It really does, because it's rough, but it's good. And it's a kind of pain that is so good because you're growing, right? You're growing, you're gaining muscle, you're gaining mental strength, right? And so that time, I saw him doing stuff and I was like, man, let me jump in. I got this. And sure enough, I got it. I did. It was rough, but I got there. I got there. And it's little things like that that'll push you to do some really great things. And it'll push you to learn and grow in areas you might have not even thought that you could. I'm trying to think of a few other places or a few other stories of where I had just jumped into something and that someone else was doing, and I ended up doing pretty solid at it. I can't think of anything else right off the bat. But if I do, I'll probably talk about it in another video. I'm pretty sure there are. But it's all about the process, right? And the rewards you get from the process through that competition, either with yourself or others, it's so satisfying. But on the other side too, there's also the darker side of competition, and I'm specifically talking about. I believe his name is Better Psych Hacks. I was watching a video of a reaction from Bo Reffick when he was watching a specific video, and that was over him covering the Survivor episode with the man versus women. Ultimately, what happened was that when each respective sex landed on their island, obviously the men were doing just fine, right? The men immediately got to work, started building shelters, started making fire, catching food, while the women did significantly worse. A lot of them were getting sick on breaks. A lot of them were getting food, all kinds of stuff, right? They were getting a lot of handicaps. And things just got so bad to the point that they actually went over to the men's side, and there was already a hierarchy that was established at that point. Men typically work very quickly when it becomes necessary for hierarchies. And so since the guys at the top, or maybe the guy at the top of the pyramid, didn't really want to give women the time of day because they were so busy managing the tribe and making sure everything runs smooth. The guys at the bottom, and this is why this is so dangerous for men who are above the weakest link. It's because a lot of the time the men at the bottom will do whatever that they can for either resources or women, because they can't really compete with the guys at the top. And so there was a conspiracy between the weakest men and the women. Ultimately, they banded together and they took out, right, the guys at the top or the guy at the top. I can't remember exactly what, I can't remember exactly, what all happened, but I do know that there was an elimination and the guys at the top were eliminated. Per, Better Psych Hacks, quoting him here. And competition is very healthy, but it must be done right. And that's through honor, integrity, respect, right? And so if there's a competitive event that does not have that, you don't really have a whole lot of anything. Now, what's the point of standing at the top if you cheated to get there? Some people don't care about that, which is exactly why they're at the bottom. Well, sometimes it can be skewed, and that's like the example was, with the Transformers who are, coming, the men essentially coming into, these, women's competitive spaces and absolutely blowing out the water, right? That's a really good example there. There is no harsher shame than cheating to get up to the top. There's no harsher shame. Well, I think that good people really feel is in anyways. Now, I mean, people who are going to cheat to get to the top, they don't really care either. And so, that's why I tell you guys, always be on your game. Always be on your game, right? Both in the mind and the body. Because if you know that you're always on your A game no matter what, then you just happen to succumb maybe to the weak men, right? Or, the weak men conspiring with the women to take you down. At least you know that you not only stood for something, but you were something itself, right? You were that man's man. But, and this is also where we find ourselves in society today. Most weak men will do whatever, right? And most of it revolves around women. It's so sad. We see a lot of stuff happen. Guys pew-pewing, other guys because they just couldn't compete with these guys for women. And so it's really sad to see. It really is. But it's the nature of things sometimes. And that's also why you should also keep your situational awareness up, train, because it's not just, heavy thing, pick everything up. It's not just that. It's not just sitting down and studying. It's not just having hard conversations with yourself to prepare mentally for whatever. It's also training with, other things. Knives, swords, axes, hatchets, right? Bows, small arms, handguns, shotguns, rifles, all kinds of stuff. You want to make sure that you are prepared for anything, right? And keep your situational awareness up. Oh, absolutely, keep your situational awareness up. That doesn't mean be paranoid, right? Which I am quite a bit, but that's part of the PTSD problem. But you want to always make sure that you're ready, right, for whatever. And so, just train. And that's also the competitiveness as well. That's also where that comes into play. When I was in, when I was in, I believe it was my last year, in the military, the Air Force. I wanted to get the what's called the marksman ribbon, and you have to qualify. When you're going to the range and you're qualifying on your firearms, we first were issued the M92. I believe it was the A1. The A1, and then we called it the M9, but it was a Beretta, and the M4A1, right? This was before they had the full auto fire selector. It was the 3-round burst, but I remember I wanted to get the marksman ribbon before I got out. And when that happened, I was extremely just blown away. And not only did I get it once, but I got it twice. One on handgun. I can't remember if it was from the Beretta or the M18 because we had moved to the SIGs my last year in. So I remember, I can't remember if I got expert on the Beretta or the M18, but I know I got expert on one of them. And then I also got expert on the M4. This is, I think it was right before we moved to the M4A2s, which had the full auto selector. But to get there, I had always wanted to practice to keep my skills sharp so that when that came around, I could get that. And it's something that I could look at and just for myself, right? To show myself that I could do it, that I could go above and beyond my my goals. Because again, I just wanted one, but I got two, right? You never know what you're capable of until you compete with yourself to go that extra mile, right? You can do some amazing things. The body is capable of so many things. You just got to push it. And so just a couple of examples, to show you guys. But make sure that you are doing things the right way. Don't underhand people, man. Don't underhand people. Because look, if you have to cheat to get up to the top, you're not really a man. And no one really sees, nobody sees that as a man. No one. Right? The reason why the guys at the top are at the top is because they did things the right way and they got the respect and they stay there for a long time. The guys who cheat to get their way up there, they're not there for a long time, which is why, right? Going back to the Survivor story, the guys were eliminated right after they eliminated the guys at the top. So, it's the nature of the beast sometimes, man. We're animals too. And a lot of times we eat our own. Quite a lot. And so that's why it's so important to stay on your A game. So the main takeaways from this this video here is do things the right way, be competitive the right way, and find yourself at the top the right way. Now, obviously, there are going to be limitations. Not everyone's going to find themselves at the top. That's true. But the ones that find themselves at the top who went about the right way, right, and who are actually good men, they're still going to have respect for you because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're still competing, right? But you're in a place, you respect that place, you respect yourself, you respect those above you and below you, and you're doing what you're supposed to. And that's pretty admirable. That's respectable, man. That really is. You're not dying to get up to the top. You're not dying to do whatever it takes to get up to the top, but you admire those who are at the top. Do you want that? Yes. Are you going to do what it takes to get there? Yes. But in time, right? Until then, you're kind of grinding things out, right? Am I a big YouTuber? No. Do I see myself becoming a big YouTuber? Eventually. Would I like to be there? Yes. Why? Because I want to help people. That's why. I know I have a lot of knowledge that I can share with a bunch of people. I have my own faults. I have my own problems, right? We all do. We all have skeletons in our closets. We all have, things that we're embarrassed about. We all have our weaknesses, our strengths. That's just who we are, man. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is. But should we do what we can to figure things out? Of course. Absolutely. We should always do things to figure things out. And that is every single day, right? So, and that's what this whole home turf is about. Is what the whole channel is about, guys, is to come together and figure things out. right? To help get through our problems, to learn and grow together. And so we will be truthful here, but we will also be uplifting as well, right? And that's the whole point of this. So thank you all for joining the family. I'm so happy to have you guys a part of this. Man, it's been one ride. It's been one ride. So, and I hope to have you guys with me all the way until the end. All the way until the end. So, thank you so much, guys. I love every single one of you. You have been rock stars and incredible. I don't think there's really a whole lot more I can say on this topic here. I think it's an interesting topic. If you guys happen to have your own experiences, your own thoughts, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you want me to talk about something else, you can let me know that too. I'll be more than happy to help you guys out any way that I can. If there's anything specific, just let me know and I'll be happy to do it. I've done it before and I'll do it again. All right, guys? So thank you so much. Also, I do plan on doing some more military content. So if you guys want to see more military stuff, maybe for those of you who are going into the military or for those of you who are in the military already, if you have any specific questions for me, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to try and help you out, okay? That being said, I want to go ahead and end it here, guys. Please, if this video helped you, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing. That's a big one. And commenting, please. The more engagement that you partake, in these videos, the more YouTube is going to push these kinds of videos into the algorithm, okay? And we want to make sure everyone gets this information, especially men, because where a society changes, it's because the men changed first, right? Yes, I know, guys, listen, most women now are garbage. But on the other side of that, most men now are garbage as well. Why is that? Well, because most of us are making $40,000 or $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. We can't provide for women at all. Most of us are weak, both body and in mind. And, there's not really a whole lot of prospects out there. So it makes sense. It's why this channel exists, It's to help all of us come together, but especially men to change, right? Think of how many guys are on OnlyFans paying for all this stuff, shoveling out their wallets for whatever, right? And so, we got to stop that because the only way that the women are going to change is if we change first. Sure, women select the men to breed with, but what's the point of breeding with the men if all the men are trading all the resources just for some attention? I'm just saying, guys. Is this all men? No. But is this the vast majority of them? I will say yes. If you guys can get mad at me, it's the truth. It is the truth, okay? I'm just here to tell you guys the truth and help you out the best way I can, all right? We're not shitting on anyone here. We're just telling the truth. All right, guys? So, that being said, guys, let's change, but let's change first. And then we can change society. We can change the culture. That's the end goal, is changing the culture. Because as we all know, right, men and women included, this culture is garbage. We know that. So, just so I don't ram it on a lot, things need to change, right? So, stay competitive with yourself and others. Try to make it to the top, but understand your place and be happy or content in your place. Be respectful of those above you and below you. All right? And be respectful of yourself most of all. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, both mind and body. Please. If you got to talk to someone, go talk to somebody, okay? For my boys, have a good group of men around that you respect. Talk with them, confide in them. For my ladies, same thing, all right? If you got to talk to a professional, go talk professional. Do not be scared about that. Don't be shy about it. Don't be ashamed, all right, to go and talk to a professional, okay? Some of them, hey, look, we all got to fight our demons. We all got to, take those skeletons out of our closet and really talk with them to get through things, right? And so don't be afraid to do that, all right? Because that's how you get through some really dark stuff. So, and if you want to talk with me, I'm more than happy to talk with you, okay, guys? Because again, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys. We're all here to benefit, but I'm here to help you guys out. So my door is always open. All you gotta do is just leave a comment in the comment section, or you can email me. I've got my email on the contact link. All right, so reach out. Take care of each other as well. Okay, take care of each other. Someone's calling you 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, pick up and at least make sure they're all right. That simple. Someone's having a rough day in the comment section, give them the right information, right? Maybe you guys are disagreeing, give them the right information, but don't attack them. Lift them up, okay? Just lift them up. Do me a favor. And so, and it's not just on the comment section as well. If someone's having a rough day, help them out, all right? That being said, guys, let's create a better society and let's change the culture, okay? I appreciate your help in that endeavor. So, thanks for watching. Guys, thank you for watching till the end. You guys are OGs, man. You guys are the GOAT. So, appreciate it. You all have a great day. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon.